have a higher cash on cash return. I think MTRs pretty consistently would beat on a cash return profile, and they might underperform on an appreciation profile. But then they also overperform on they're just less work. There's 3 to 4 turns a year.
So you just gave us I think one of the best arguments as to why people should start considering midterm rentals or monthly rentals. But let's talk about actually setting it up. So what are the practical steps that you've seen for outfitting a successful midterm rental?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'd start with is, again, start with who do I think is going to be my tenant? A traveling nurse is a very different tenant than traveling corporate. One, you might have more emphasis on blackout shades, and the other, you might have more emphasis on workspace. So start with who you're designing for. Then remember that you're not designing for a family's most important 4-day long weekend or spring break. You're designing for a place that needs to mainly do 3 things. It needs to be able to sleep comfortably, work productively, cook easily, and, maybe there's a little bit of downtime rest. But this is not, it's not pickleball, and it's not a foosball table, and it's not all this stuff. It's like, and the stuff you want to be sure you do is you don't skip on towels, you don't skimp on sheets, and you don't skimp on cookware. In a short-term rental, you can kind of get away with some of that because they're there for 3 nights. This is 90 days on average. You care about the bed, you care about the bedding, you care about the towels, and you don't want to travel with your own towels if you're going on a 90-day trip. And so, I think those are the most important things. You can do it a lot more cost effectively. Think like $5 to $7 a square foot. You can soup to nuts outfit a midterm rental than a short-term rental. And if you want to learn more about it, we recently did a webinar with Minoan that highlights, tips and tricks for how to think about the space.
My head's spinning now because it's hearing $5 to $7 per square foot is like, I spend on the low end is 25, but most likely 50 to 100 just to get a short-term rental to be, competing with everything out there.
And then you've got all the maintenance on all that stuff you had to buy. It's probably $5 a year of maintenance.
I heard 3 and 4 turnovers the whole year. And again, I am afterwards going to be adamantly searching for monthly rentals I can turn into in my area. Cause that just sounds like an operations dream for me. So
I think we have 13 turns today in my portfolio, so I couldn't imagine 3 or 4 for the whole year.
Oh yeah. I'm making sure in the back end, my phone isn't blowing up from a cleaner telling me right now, like, hey, your sheets are ruined and this hot tub is ruined. And so,
and the most frustrating thing is you get a phone call and it's like, you're out of ping pong balls. That ruined your trip?
Not long ago, I had a guest get so upset with me because they didn't understand how to start a fire with firewood outside in the fire pit. And I'm like, I can't teach you everything. Like, you could simply, that's not my fault that you can't put twigs together,